Happy holidays. I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. As we bid 2018 farewell, let's take a look back at some of the stories covered on FYI throughout the year in the second installment of the Year in Review. Cobblestone Farm is a unique landmark to Ann Arbor, rich in history, highlighting the lives led in 19th century Michigan. From the field to the kitchen, visitors can step back in time as they visit Cobblestone Farm, a sight to see from Packard Street.
We are having an open house for our spring cleaning event. There's tours, there's demonstrations. We do have some kids' games on the lawns.
You can see cooking in the kitchen. There should be a spinner upstairs, a weaver in the house. There's a lady making baskets. If you wanted clothes, you had to spin the thread out of the wool that you had to shear off the sheep, which were on the property, to make your clothes. If you wanted rugs on your floor, you had to weave those rugs. So she's making rag rugs upstairs.
Even the stonework is unique to this property.
The front of the house is a herringbone pattern cobblestone, so it's like herringbone cloth on the front of the house. It's an unusual pattern because it takes a lot of time to build a house like this.
The favorite part of Cobblestone Farm is I get to time travel. I get to go back to the 1850s. And telling the history and the relationship of Cobblestone Farm to the city of Ann Arbor and Pittsville Township. We were part and parcel of the development of this area.
Well, we've become somewhat disconnected from what life was like a couple hundred years ago. We try to bring that home to people who come here.
We all have memories of skating as a kid, but once we get older, most of us stop. One local group of women are bringing this pastime back with a ton of fierceness. The Ann Arbor Derby Dimes laced up for their rival bout against the Detroit Derby Girls.
It is a very mental sport because it involves a skill that you don't naturally have. People don't naturally know how to roller skate. So if you can fall a whole bunch and just keep getting back up, that's really all that you need to be good at roller derby.
The sport requires the ability to play both defense and offense simultaneously.
It's like hockey, except that a person is the puck, and so the person who is the jammer, their job is to score all the points. And it's the blocker's role to make that person not score points.
The offense comes in where we might send one or two people to go try to clear a hole for our jammer to get out.
The goal is to get as many points as you can in one jam, and a jam is a maximum of 2 minutes. Once you learn one skill, there's always going to be more skills. So you're never going to be the best, you're never going to know everything because there's always something to learn.
The roller derby is always on the lookout for new blood.
Ann Arbor Roller Derby hosts boot camps once a year in the fall. We're actually recruiting for our next boot camp. It's an 18-week program where we teach you from the beginning to the end. So you don't have to know how to roller skate. You don't even have to own roller skates. You don't have to know how to do anything. You just got to show up.
FYI cameras were on hand as Huron Valley Ambulance taught children and adults how to react in a myriad of emergencies. HVA hosts Camp 911 to get kids thinking about safety and how to react when a disaster strikes.
They're learning CPR, they're learning first aid, going to the emergency room, going to the fire department. So basically our focus is preparing the kids for emergencies.
We learned lots of stuff on what the Milan Fire Department does and how to be safe during a fire.
They're going to take them through all the different trucks, teach them the different types of trucks, like the difference between like the engine and the rescue and the different types of trucks that they run. Show them some of the equipment like the Jaws of Life and those sorts of things. And then just kind of what the daily life of a firefighter is like.
We learned how to know if a helmet fits you and how it's safe for you and why you should use it, the risks of not wearing one while you're biking.
During first aid, they're going to learn how to do bleeding control. So if they have somebody with a big bleed, they learn how to put pressure on it and bandage it and all those sorts of things, how to properly clean it. They're going to learn how to do some basic splints for broken bones.
If you're in a situation where somebody's in cardiac arrest or somebody is just like not in a well shape, they need to be able to know what to do, or when they call 911, they need to know what to do when the ambulance is coming.
You're giving the kids the skill, so you're giving them something that they might really need to use.
We always have fun learning more about animals and the carefree fun they have. Watch as we see snakes, spiders, gators, and dogs make their mark on FYI. The Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum welcomed Dan the Creature Man and his animal friends that make up the Little Creatures Company.
When I was in high school, I started working in pet shops and also volunteering at nature centers, and realized I really loved these animals and wanted to work with them as long as I could. And now, quite a few years later, I still am. And what I do is run a small outreach program from my home where I take my exotic pets around to schools, libraries, and other places where there are kids pretty much every day and do animal programs for them.
For nearly 30 years, Dan has been sharing his exotic pets with the masses.
I maintain about 45 species of animals, which I take care of every single day. It's a lot of work, but I enjoy it. Most of what I brought today are the tamer, calmer, and more interesting small animals that I've got, but I tried to bring some that are very touchable, you know, because we're at the Hands-On Museum and it's safe for the kids to touch most of them.
We even got up close and personal with a lively lizard.
He eats 12 crickets a day, and if you look closely here, he has a tail called a prehensile tail, which they use because of where they live on branches of trees and plants in Madagascar. But it's called a panther chameleon. It's one of the more colorful types of chameleons. I try to just teach people to understand them better, and just, you know, if you see a snake in the wild or a tarantula, it's not going to come running and bite your leg for no reason. If you go after it, that's a different story, but they're not evil creatures. Most wild animals stay away from people, spiders and snakes included.
Burr Park Pool went full canine during the 14th annual Dog Swim.
We're here for the dog swim today. We come out every single year after the pool closes. It's my dog's favorite day of the year. He loves to swim, loves to chase around the other dogs.
We had a lot of people request dog swim, and we thought it would be a good idea after it's closed to humans, to at least before we drain the pools, to let the dog swim for a couple days.
We took our dog to the pool here today so she could cool down and become a little bit more social since she's just a puppy.
With tails wagging, Dog Swim is like a pooch yappy hour.
My dog goes crazy the entire time that we're driving here when he knows that we're coming here, because he sees the towels in the car. And then when we get here, he can't wait to get out here, and he's progressed from needing to be coaxed into the water to flying in with reckless abandon after a tennis ball.
I think her favorite part was probably just running around in the pool and then just cooling off, I guess, because it's a hot day, and then meeting some new dogs.
It's a great community time for you to bring your dog. A lot of people who enjoy the dog parks around the city. This is kind of a unique event for them. They can get in the pool, socialize with other dogs.
We love the arts here at CTN, and what better way to honor creativity than by putting a spotlight on the arts and artists that create. Huron High School Art Night welcomed all as they hosted an evening for artists.
Every student that is enrolled in an art class, which is about 300 kids, has at least one art piece on display. And then we're also having an open house of our studios, and there's student demos of various art methods.
You will see lots of drawings and paintings, ceramics, jewelry, multimedia, mixed media. We have graphic design, photography, both digital and darkroom. So we show something from all of our class offerings.
Students explore their creativity throughout the year to illustrate the best of their talent during Art Night.
It's one of my favorite pictures of myself, so I just decided to do it. It was challenging at first to do the face in general, but at the end I pushed through it and I got.
It's different, very different to deal with oil pastel than it is with anything else really, because it's the way you mix it, I guess, is different, because you want to leave a little bit of color that sort of shows through, so you have a sort of, I guess, painterly feel.
Not only do we get to foster a love of the visual arts among our students, our education is such an integral part of students learning other life skills such as creative problem solving and perseverance, trial and error, risk-taking, and of course personal expression and creativity.
To see students proud of their work, to see them walk up to their work with their grandparent or their brother or their mom and just say, I did this, this is my work, and it's in this setting, and it just makes them feel special.
Embroidery can be done using many different techniques, but one Japanese technique is making this art form user-friendly.
For sashiko, we're using only one stitch. We're just using the running stitch, and usually it's a light colored thread on a dark background, like white on like an indigo or a navy works really well. Whereas everyday embroidery, you use a multitude of colors, and there's a variety of stitches you can use.
The tools provided can be used for any kind of embroidery.
So we basically have a cotton fabric, we have some embroidery floss, a needle with a nice big eye, and then just some scissors. We're also using some patterns and then a transfer paper so that we can transfer the paper onto the dark colored fabric, which is really nice for beginners.
I decided to make a Trump embroidery, and so I started working on that today at the class instead of what I was supposed to be doing.
No matter the method, creating these designs has a calming effect.
It's therapeutic, it's meditative, and you say to yourself, oh, just one more stitch, then I'll be done. Oh, one more stitch, and then like an hour later, you're still stitching away.
Riverside Arts Center welcomed a host of artists at their Sculpture Park exhibit.
There's a range of formal, there's like some abstract stuff, plenty of conceptual stuff, but just a lot of people that are very good at crafting and mixing different materials together in thoughtful, playful ways.
I was inspired by a number of things, including my childhood experiences of riding the train every day to get to school when I lived in England. And so the bench piece that I have here is all about speed and linear travel.
I've been working in steel and wood, paper mache, fibers, anything I can get my hands on, basically, that tells the story that I'm trying to tell.
I've got a 50-foot-long phonograph installed at the Riverside Arts Center today, and this is an interactive piece that has a sound wave on a handrail. You scrape the sound wave with any card. This is a pretty good card. When you scrape the top of the sound wave, the card vibrates just like a speaker, and you can hear the music or the voice or any short song can play on this handrail.
Best time ever. There's so much fun stuff here, so many interesting ideas and different approaches to making art that I'm just really enjoying this new opportunity to network as an artist and new visual, it's candy, visual candy.
Twice annually, artisans take over the west side of Ann Arbor for a one-of-a-kind strolling art tour.
It's a typical quirky kind of Ann Arbor thing, so that's fun in itself. Plus there's a lot of local artists, and it's so much more interesting to buy something from somebody who you've met and can explain it to you what it means, and it's really personal.
The West Side Art Hop boasts 17 venues featuring 40-plus artists.
I'm creating a tribute to a person, a dedication. I take them into mind as I'm creating the bird in terms of their likes, their preferences, their taste, even some of their characteristics, for example, like glasses or even like their fashion sense. And then I create a handwritten dedication about the bird through the lens of the individual's highest self.
I've always loved picture books, and I think the best ones approach art. And it's this whole sense of creating a partial narrative between the image and the words. So I would say that interplay is one of the more unique aspects of what I do.
It's a great way to see such varied artwork. There's glass artists, there's textile artists, there's painters, there's almost any avenue, any medium that you want to see. They'll find it in this neighborhood.
Voting is a right that we should not take for granted, and the League of Women Voters is prepping the next generation through artistic expression. The League of Women Voters called on artists in 9th to 12th grade to create nonpartisan posters urging people to vote.
First we register, then we educate, then we get out the vote. So this part was educating students to be able to educate people to get out there and vote.
The contest awarded 3 finalists and 7 honorable mentions.
If you don't vote, you really have no right to say anything because you could have voted and you could have changed something.
We're trying to tell millennials that getting a vote out there is important, getting my voice or my artistic interpretations is important too.
We really hope that they got a sense of their own power and their own personal responsibility in being citizens and their power in persuading other people. So doing your homework, learning about voting, they could express their opinions about it and persuade other people to take their responsibility as citizens.
In Ann Arbor, we pride ourselves on how educated we are as a city, and what better way to celebrate higher education than having the written word on full display. Literature versus Traffic was a one-night-only art installation that illuminated the night sky.
Liberty Street between Maynard and State is paved with books, and all of the books have LED lights in them, and it's kind of creating this illusion of literature pavement. It's really pretty.
It just brings people out and sort of raises a little awareness about reading, and people can grab books about things that they're interested in, or maybe able to grab things that they didn't know about and can read about them.
I love that Ann Arbor has these kinds of things, that the school and the group that's putting the exhibit on, that they can work together to do this kind of thing. And I really like seeing the kids here. The kids are really excited about it, just promoting a love of literature and a love of art all at the same time.
It's really a moment to honor us as a town, the way that the university and the community can come together and do something great, the way that this really speaks to how we value education, diversity, free thought, sustainability, that all of us have a voice, and surprisingly, if we work together in this way, we can pretty much do anything.
April Fools is a no-pressure holiday where goofiness comes into play. Here in Ann Arbor, we know how to commemorate the beginning of April during full moon and festivals. Fashion comes in many forms, but when you're choosing an ensemble centered on silliness, the Fools from Found and Wonderful Productions may be your inspiration.
This year decided that we would do a little event where we could come up with some creative, easy-to-make costumes that people could wear for this April event in downtown Ann Arbor. So we've gathered together a bunch of materials and some of the people from Wonderful Productions to help us come up with some just fun and easy costumes.
So whether that's mixing plaids with polka dots or making a big sculpture, mobile sculpture, we want people to participate in any way, and we think fashion is a good base level for people to be foolish.
Found was the ideal locale to create fashion from everyday materials.
We have things that are made from a whole variety of materials that have been repurposed in different ways. So this is like an ultimate repurposing.
We have kind of a new call to action to people, which is make something out of the ordinary. So taking ordinary objects and turning it into something extraordinary.
As the sun set for the day, the Fools came out to play as they brought the best of their imagination to Full Moon.
I had a pop-up book when I was a little kid that had a diver being attacked by an octopus, and I always thought that was a really intense image, so I wanted to make that.
By building this puffer fish, and it was inspired by my aunt. She loves fish and stuff from the sea.
We're mermaids, and we just came out to show you guys our beautiful moves.
Squids, sharks, and snails grace the red carpet, representing the Fish to Fools theme.
It's like one of the things that makes Ann Arbor such a great place is that we can have events like this where everybody from kids to older adults, everybody has a place here, everybody can have a good time. And, even in the snow, even when it's like almost below 30 degrees, we're still having a great time.
It's such a good time. Where else do you get to see all these awesome lanterns? Everyone's having fun, they're all lit up. Let's go!
For 12 years, Wonderful Productions has brought the looniness to Main Street during Festivals.
Festivals is fun, it's culture, it's music, it's dance, it's puppetry, it's art. It's a great time. I look forward to it every year.
This started out as a serious idea, didn't it?
It did. It was a very serious idea.
And
then we called it foolishness.
There was no denying the tomfoolery as puppets of all kinds visited the city and made it their own.
This all started a long time ago
In a land far, far away.
All of it comes from the mind of this mutant here, this underage mutant. And there you go. We believe that this has enhanced the tax base of Ann Arbor. That was really the purpose of it all.
People work hard year-round in Ann Arbor and the University of Michigan, and they want to have fun and express themselves and let loose.
Signing off.
Thank you so much. Full on.
This gentleman anyway.
Full on.
Another outlandish parade we watch unfold is becoming a Detroit tradition. For 9 years, Detroiters have been working together every spring to drive the devil out and all the misfortunes he plagues on the city during the Marche du Nain Rouge. For hundreds of years, the Nain Rouge has caused quite a commotion with his presence and has shed the city of Detroit in a negative light.
This is the parade to march the devil out of Detroit.
What we're doing, we're trying to march the devil out of Detroit. So what basically means, if you're familiar at all with the myth of the Nain Rouge, it's this little demon creature, this little hobgoblin. It literally translates to red dwarf.
We're down here to drive that evil character, Nain Rouge, out of Detroit. He's been over here millions of times. The 67 riots, he started there. He burned down the city in 1789, and we are here to protect my people. These are my people, my people.
According to the legend, throughout the history of Detroit, the Nain Rouge has filled the streets with blood as he torments those that call the city home.
Whenever he shows up, like bad things happen, and Detroit's had enough of that. We need to be viewed in a more positive light, and in order to do that, we need to get the devil out.
For those of us who never experienced the world of scouting, the organization is teaching our young about being an upstanding member of the community and how to be a leader. Watch as some Boy Scouts learn the ways of city government. A local chapter of the Boy Scouts of America worked in conjunction with the city of Ann Arbor to obtain some crucial merit badges.
These merit badges are a perfect example of why scouting is good. Any one particular merit badge, you might end up finding something you enjoy as a career and you could go on doing it later in life.
We had fire safety with the fire chief, members of the city attorney's office and the police department helped with fingerprinting, crime prevention, and law. We had a sustainability merit badge.
One of the required merit badges for Eagle Scout is citizenship in the community, and then that's followed on by citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the world.
I'm an Eagle Scout when I was younger, and I have been recruited to be a member of the local council. But generally, scouting, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Explorers, I think are wonderful ways for youth to get involved in their community. The more we can reach out and engage with the community, the more they have a sense of ownership in what the government does and how we impact quality of life in the area.
Visit a2gov.org/watchctn to view this and other programs. Thanks for watching and tune in next time to FYI.